Check 1 2, check 1 2. Miami on the Rocks, Casey Chops. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at MIA on the Rocks. Follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Today's guest got my brother Carlos in here. What's good?
What's up, brother?
How are you, bro?
I'm doing good,
people
dude.
who you don't know Carlos, if you haven't seen him, you've been living under a rock. He's one of the most poppin' stand-up comedians in Miami. And you've seen him all over Only in Dade. He's heavily affiliated with Only in Dade. Shout out to Lenny and them.
Yes, sir.
He's got his show. He does shows. He's doing his show at the Improv.
Yeah.
Coming up. Plug that. When's the date for that?
March 15th, next Wednesday.
March 15th. You're headlining your own show.
I'm headlining. First time doing it. I'm excited. Before I used to have my shows there before. It was like a talk show, variety show. But this time I'm doing a full hour.
Stand-up comedy, boom.
Pure. Yeah, bro.
You've been grinding for a long time, bro.
Yeah,
and I have a respect for you guys. You, Mario, you guys, Caballo, you guys have been in the Miami circuit, stand-up comedy, hustling for a minute, bro. You've been doing shows at the Improv. You curate content. I see you all online. So I heavily respect your hustle, my brother.
Thank you. You too,
this
brother.
has been long overdue, bro. Very long overdue.
Thank you, bro. I'm glad we're finally doing it.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. Damn, I guess let's get into your story, bro.
Yeah, man.
Born and raised in Miami?
No. I was actually born in Mexico. My parents are Cuban, and they moved to Mexico, and we moved there in 2004. We came here when I was 11, and I've been here ever since. Yeah. Okay. They needed they wanted somewhere that they could speak Spanish, so they went to Mexico, and then they were like, wait, we can speak Spanish over here, and no one's gonna steal our kid. So then we came to Miami.
So you grew up in I grew up in Mexico. Just got kidnapped in Mexico, by the way. Shit was crazy.
I know. That's why I made that. I didn't mean to make that a joke.
Yeah. No, fuck that, bro. None of sensitive,
come on, dog.
No sensitive shit over here.
Okay, good.
We're gonna get to the sensitivity and if that bothers you at all, because it really bothers me how sensitive the world is right now. But so you grew up in Miami?
I grew up in, technically I was raised from since I was born till I was 10 in Mexico.
And then came over
So elementary school, all I did in Mexico. Came here in 6th grade.
Okay, and what part of Miami did you grow up in?
I grew up in Hialeah and Miami Lakes. So I was out there, bro.
I was born in Hialeah. My dad, my dad was the last white guy born in Hialeah. So he's from Hialeah. He went to HML and shit, Palm Springs North. But it's funny, but Miami Lakes is like Hialeah, just with 2-car garages and shit.
Yeah, exactly, man. I call it. It's just it's fancy Hialeah. Instead of roosters, they have cows. That's really the main.
It's like Hialeah with a tie and a suit.
A little bit, yeah. You have a boat out front, but the boat doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? That's Miami Lakes for you.
That's a fact.
You're gonna where you take it to the lake, no. That's really it.
So, bro, what got you into stand-up comedy, bro? When did you decide to take it serious? Because I think a lot of people think they're funny, but they don't think about, all right, let me take it to the next level and try to do it as a profession.
Yeah, dude. So I always knew that I wanted to do some level of comedy, while growing up. Mm-hmm. I probably didn't know at the time, but looking back on my childhood, I was I was kind of this was kind of my destiny in a sense. Mm-hmm. As silly as that sounds, but I was watching, I moved to Miami, and we were, out here, literally watching, Saturday Night Live with barely even understanding English. Mm-hmm. So, the first Saturday that I was here, we were in, the apartment, our boxes were still out here, not packed, everything was just on the boxes and shit. And I literally remember watching, Kenan Thompson and Lindsay Lohan from The Parent Trap. And obviously I know both of these people because I watched Kenan and Kel and The Parent Trap while I was in Mexico, with Spanish, translations, hola, somos, it was very different. Yeah. But I was oh my God, what's happening right now? Two worlds are colliding in front of me, and I was just staring, and I was oh my God, what's going on? And ever since I remember watching the whole show, barely understanding it, but still laughing at it. And ever since I just got into just comedy, I became a comedy fan. Mm-hmm. And in Mexico, I would watch these sketch shows that was Eugenio Derbez is one of the best comedians in Mexico. He's huge. He does work in English now, and he's been able to translate from Mexico to just the American industry. Or market rather. And I grew up watching little sketch shows called La Hora Pico, La Hora Derbez, all these different shows. So ever since I was a kid, I was experiencing that. And my family's always been funny. My dad's silly. He doesn't even realize he's being funny, but he's that type of dude that he'll literally fell from the ceiling once when he was trying to fix the AC, and he didn't hurt himself. It was pretty bad, but it was he does shit like that. He'll fall out in the pool. He's very clumsy, but he pretends he's not, because he's still a Cuban macho guy. Yeah. So I grew up seeing that, and I was this is hilarious.
I read something where they said that comedy is actually a gene. Like it gets passed down. Like usually if you're funny, your parents have like a really good sense of humor as well.
Did you see that? I just fucking dropped fucking tequila around my drop.
Don't
That's it, bro. That's my dad looking in, and he's just like, "Oh, dude, fucking, he's alive." I don't know why I made that sound like he's dead from the skies or whatever.
But
Bro. But I think it is. Like my dad is legitimately. I would say 80% of my set when I first started doing stand up was about my dad. Wow. Like it was about just like shit happening about my dad. Yeah. Like one of my closers is about my dad and like what he does and like the way that he is and like just being like such a Cuban, like, you know, because that Cuban culture is like everything's like you're a man, you're a macho.
Yeah, machismo.
But then they'll be like, oh, where's my kiss when you leave the house? Yeah, so it's like very like what's the economy of that? So it's odd. But I think that, and then I remember being like 13 and like discovering Comedy Central, and like they would just be putting like George Carlin like at 2 p.m. like George Carlin specials, and I was like 13-year-old kid just watching George Carlin talk about like how the world is shitty and like God isn't real and like just still being funny about it. Yeah. And I was like now understanding more English, and I was like, this is wild. Yeah. Like, seeing Eddie Murphy and all that stuff. Like it was just like I became such a fan of it. And yeah, in high school I was like the chubby funny kid. That's how I like if I got girls it was because I was making them laugh first. Right. And then in senior year of high school I took a drama class with Miss McDonald. Shout out Miss McDonald in Miami Lakes Educational Center, Miami Lakes, Texas, where I went to high school. And it was a drama class. I took it because I was like, oh, I need an elective. I don't know what to do. And bro, that thing like changed my life. Like I knew that I was like trying to do some sort of performance, like be in the performing arts in some sort of way. Right. And then I did this monologue where I had to like read or like learn a monologue, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And I don't know why I found this online. A Few Good Men, that monologue from like You Can't Handle the Truth, and it's like Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. And I did that in class, and I somehow made it a little funny, but it was still like a serious topic, and it was still the same words. And like everybody like stood up and started clapping. Wow. And I was like, bro, dude. And being like a fucking like the fat kid in class, that's funny. And then like getting that sort of reaction will change your life. It was also Spirit Week, and I was wearing I was dressed up as Jack from The Incredibles. Okay. So maybe that's what made it funnier. But it definitely like changed my whole thing. And she made me do it again and go to a class that was like in another period, and I did the same monologue, and they're like, that's what we should be doing. And I was like, damn, really?
How did you start curating content? Was it like online? Was that the first?
No,
like, tell
not
me
at
about
all.
the first time you went in front of a stage to do like a set.
Bro, I went to FIU right after I graduated from MLEC, and I had, bro, like all sorts of like just things through my mind. Like I didn't really know what to do, and my parents did like IT. And I was like, man, I might as well do IT. Like, I guess I'm into computers or whatever. So I went and I did a career. Like, I literally got a bachelor's degree in, like, management information systems, cybersecurity. And I honestly hated it. Like, I did not like it while I was there. But in tandem, I was also, like, going to the gym and losing weight. So I didn't really care about school. I was just, like, kind of focused on losing weight. Like, I lost, like, 110 pounds in a matter of, like, 8 months. Shit. Yeah. Like I was like 320 when I like graduated high school. Like I was really, really big, and it wasn't like muscle; it was pure fat and Chick-fil-A and Taco Bell that was in front of us in the school. Right. And yeah, dude. So I did that, and I just focused on losing weight and not really focused on what I was studying. So I was like kind of letting school ride, and then something hit me, like junior year of college. Like I was like, dude, I don't love what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing this. There's some, I don't remember if I watched a video or if it was like some motivational video or something clicked in me that I was like, I gotta do like what I love, even if I don't even know what that is just yet. I just know I like making people laugh in some way, shape, or form. So I took an acting class at this place called the Miami Acting Studio, and I did that for like a month. It was cool, dope, chill. But then I quit. I stopped doing that. And in senior year of college, while I was like about to graduate, I started taking an improv class in this place called Just the Funny in Crow Way. It was the end of 2016. And I started taking that class. And the second I went into that class, I was like, oof, this feels different. Like, this feels dope. And it was just a bunch. I was the youngest one there. I must have been like 20, 21 years old. And everybody was like kind of doing it as a hobby. Improv is like different than stand-up. It's like you get a suggestion, two people are on the scene, and then you improvise a scene. It's this show called Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Right. Or it's more like freestyling off the dome. Like
exactly. Off the top. It literally, it's almost like just like rap freestyle, but you're just
Whose line is it anyway, basically?
Literally, that's what that is. So you're like improvising that. And I remember being on stage, that first time that I was on stage, And they make you do this exercise the first day, and you get up on stage, and then they're like, all right, talk for like a minute and try to be funny. And I did, and I was funny, and people were laughing. But the whole purpose of that exercise, a lot of people weren't, like it was kind of awkward or whatever. The whole point of that exercise was for you to realize that this wasn't stand-up, and you're not supposed to make people laugh. You're supposed to be like, partner focused. And I was like, I still made some people laugh, so it was cool. So I was like, okay, I think I could still do that, but whatever. And then I told the teacher that we were there, and everybody was saying like, oh, I want to do this as a hobby. I'm a lawyer. I want to learn to speak better. I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm a teacher. I don't have time for it. This is my hobby, whatever. And I told the teacher, like, as we were leaving, I was like, dude, I don't know why I feel the need to say this, but this is like what I want my life to be. Like, I want to make this my career. So if you can like just take a little bit of like that, and whenever you're teaching me, push me further, like I'll take that and I'll use it. Wow. And he did. And he kind of like became like my mentor, like while I was in like school. And there was 5 levels, and I passed all 5 levels, and then I became part of the cast. I became a director. I started teaching improv, like taught improv from like 2017, 2018. And I was like a huge part of that theater. I like did a lot for it. But when you do improv, you're not really getting any sort of payment. Like it's because a lot of people see it as a hobby. A lot of people even see it as a pyramid scheme, because you're like, oh, you like this, tell your friends, and then come and like you gotta pay like $200 for this class in the semester. So it becomes a lot of like pay to play type of shit, And I kind of saw through that, but I loved it so much, and I was already so deep in the theater. I was doing shows like 3 times a week. Rehearsal was on Wednesdays. 2 shows on Saturday, a show on Friday. So it was just like, that was my life. You know what I mean? And then in 2019, the beginning of 2019, I kind of like was realizing like, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to just do this. Like I was just doing that, and I realized I wasn't really making money, and I still had to have a day job, which I had gotten from like this. I was doing like IT, but it was still fairly easy at this company. And then I just decided to get like on a stage and do stand-up at this place called Taurus in the Grove. I don't know if you've been there. They have like this open mic on Thursdays. And I went with my boy Albie, who he's going to be at the show March 15th as well. And we were both like, he had already done it twice. And I got up and I did the open mic. I had like some jokes, and I remember feeling like I didn't crush. Obviously, it was my first time doing it, but I was like, this feels good. This is like, I have control of what I'm doing.
Like you could see yourself getting comfortable in that environment.
And I already had like that stage experience from doing improv for like 3 years before that. So I was like, okay. And so that kind of like helped me be like, okay, if I can do the improv thing, I can just like kind of like write and take a little more time and see how that's like. And there is kind of a way to get paid doing stand-up as opposed to improv. Improv is a very like, if you're making money, it's because you're teaching improv, or because you're someone that's so well known in Chicago that is getting paid this much money to do it. Right. It's barely any. And the hopes of getting through like Second City, which is like a huge theater or like a huge school in Chicago, is kind of like, it's very slim that you do that. And I still, my dream was to just like do improv for a living.
And you could kind of like weave that into your comedy too, like if you and fuck with the audience too, and kind of like
work.
Improv.
That's all that crowd work
is. Improv anyway, like
Exactly. So like the reason like I sometimes do crowd work and like it works so well, or I'll do a callback, is because that's like the tools that you have when you like do improv. So I kind of like started using that while I started doing stand up, etc. And then the pandemic hit, and I was still doing improv and doing stand up in tandem. And you couldn't do improv because you have to be in a room full of like 6 people. And then stand-up kind of was dead. So I kind of had to figure out what the hell I was going to do. So I started creating little videos and little content here and there, And yeah, dude, like I just started posting little things. Nothing really was like popping or anything. And then November came for Miami, and then some open mics started opening back up. Some rooms started opening back up. I started going to like more and more, and I was writing through the pandemic because it was so much time. I was just writing. And I had written like pretty, like I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Like I'm pretty kind of confident about it. I just got to see how it works on stage. And I went to a few open mics. The things were working. I was like, oh, cool. I don't feel like a noob anymore like I did.
You kind of, as you're doing it, you're kind of like testing out the material that you wrote, and then like you're kind of like analyzing if it's working. I got to modify this, like
Correct.
in real time as you're doing it.
Oh,
like, okay,
literally.
Yeah.
You gotta it's almost like driving. Like if there's a car right here, and you're gonna have to swerve, you can't follow the GPS if it's telling you to go straight into a car. You gotta like figure it out. You gotta pivot.
You gotta have like different bags to like choose from.
Or like when you're DJing, like if a song's not working or a vibe's not going,
you gotta go to the hip hop.
You gotta go this way and see what happens. So you gotta also do that with your jokes. But when you're starting, you only have like 7 minutes of material, so you can't really do that as much.
Yeah.
But as you get a little more and more, you start trying little things out, and you throw in some crowd work to bring the audience back in, and then you throw in the jokes, blah blah blah. So I was doing that, and the pandemic hit, and then I was posting videos on Instagram. Nothing was really hitting. I only had like 1,000 something, 2,000 followers really. And then I posted a video of me doing Spanish accents. Like I was doing like different Spanish accents. And that video like started blowing up on TikTok. It was like the day where like you can still go viral on TikTok.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Was that your like? So, okay, so this is like your biggest piece of content? Would you say?
Yeah. Well, at this point, there's others, but that was definitely the first one that I was like, oh crap.
Okay.
This like internet thing is real. Like it actually works properly for like like videos and stuff. Because nothing that I ever had put out had done any sort of damage. Like if I got like 105 likes, I was like, oh my God, I made it. Like back in the day. Like if it was like
real quick, can we do a Colombian accent?
A Colombian, o sea, ¿qué parte de Colombia quieres que te hable? O sea, es que así son los colombianos, porque te hablan como si se estuvieran pidiendo perdón. Like if they're asking you, if they're sorry for something they did, even though they're just asking you for something.
Okay, Dominican.
El dominicano te habla así como más, como si tuviera, tú sientes que está como que haciendo, como si tuviera el carro empezado, como like you turn a car.
Puerto Rican.
El puertorriqueño te habla así como super chilling. Yo quisiera, estamos aquí con Casey chopeando, tacatiki, tacataca.
Obviously, you could do the Cuban.
Claro, obviamente. El cubano te sale natural, you know?
Yeah, could you do the Argentino?
Sí, boludo, es que el argentino, yo lo sé hacer, el acento argentino, porque como ganó Messi, y, exacto, no comemos pollo, comemos pollo, ¿me entiendes? Out here.
Bro, I always say like Colombians speak Spanish, well, paisas speak Spanish like they're crying, like por acá,
that's what I'm saying. That's like,
serio,
perdón. Yeah.
Dominicans speak Spanish like there's a shot clock. Like
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Everything's just quick. Let's go.
I feel like Cubans speak Spanish like they're gargling and there's something in their throat, like
for sure. Straight up. Yeah.
Like just, and Puerto Ricans just speak Spanish and English. Like
that's hilarious. Yeah, that is how they do it.
You know,
but they're still like singing it, like because like there's so much reggaeton over there. They're like,
it's like a different
like you put a beat under a Puerto Rican speaking, it'll be a hit. I think. Like sometimes you never know. Straight up.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah, so that video explodes. Is that when like Only in Dade kind of takes note? Okay.
So Only in Dade. So that video went viral like while I was like literally at an open mic, like in Broward. It was at this place called like CNI Studios. I don't even know if it's still open. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like I saw my TikTok and I was like, it just had a bunch of comments and likes, and that had never happened to me before. So I was like, whoa, this is sick. This is crazy. And then it went viral on TikTok, whatever. And then a week after, I was out of town. And I realized that I see Only in Dade reposted the video because I had posted it on Instagram a week after that. Because I was like, oh crap, I should post that on Instagram. And then I was out of town. I wasn't even like in Miami. I was in LA doing this like I went like on American Idol. I don't know if you like saw it. And I was literally in LA filming that while this was happening. Oh, and Lenny hits me up and he's like literally just says, call me. Like he posted the video. The video did like great, and I was like, I made it. I've never have to work a day in my life. I made it on Only a Day. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? When you're like thinking in that sense, and Only a Day had like blown up on like through the pandemic. I remember I started following Only a Day like, bro, it must have been like late 2019 or like early 2020. I wasn't really following that much. And my ex at the time, her brother was like super into the page.
It was always like Only in Dade and Lifestyle Miami, and then Only in Dade just like lapped 3 times, like just got them out of here, bro.
Straight up.
Dude from Lifestyle Miami started posting like other emotional shit and like that stuff was like,
dude, that shit was
stupid
crazy.
shit and like
dude, homeboy would hit me up at 3 a.m. Like he'd be like, bro, dude, like we gotta post your stuff, but like we can't. Like if you and I'm like, bro, what are you doing here? What's going on right now? What are you serious? Like this is what we're fighting about? Like done. And it was ridiculous. That was silly as hell. I didn't even follow Lifestyle Miami at all.
Yeah.
And then, well, now all they do is post like ads all over their page.
Yeah, stupid
so,
shit.
no, it's all good. Anyway, so Only a Date, and that happened.
We team Only a Date on this side, bro.
Of course, bro. I don't even think there's a competition.
Yeah,
but
no, there isn't anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, dope. So you connect with Lenny and Only a Date throughout the pandemic, and then
towards the end of the pandemic for Miami. For the rest of the world, it was like the middle of the pandemic. If you really.
And then you start to like do some things at the Improv too.
Yeah.
Like,
so that video went viral. Like I think it was December. It was like on TikTok I posted it like November 20 something, and then on Instagram I posted it on December 4th. I'm telling they posted it like I think 10 minutes after I posted that video, literally. And I would tag Only a Date and everything after I found out about them. Like maybe something will hit. Like maybe they'll repost something. They posted it, whatever, and he hits me up like an hour after the video when like it did really well on the page for the time. I think the page only had like I want to say 300,000 followers at the time, something like that. So that was still huge at the moment. And I had seen like that like it was doing good. Like the page was like, oh, this is interesting. They're doing stuff. Like Marcelo was on the page, like doing the recaps. He was doing like the croqueta reviews, and it was like in June that he like joined that. And I was like watching it, and I was like, damn, well, this is dope. Like every comedian was watching like Marcelo and Only, and they're like, damn, what the hell? Like this is dope. He has a platform. This is sick. Like because we didn't. No Miami comedian.
Yeah, I don't think no other city has like something like that, bro.
No,
like
no.
IG page.
I don't think
that is like I tell them like, yo, you're like the new Power 96. Like you're like the new.
Not even the new like, bro. Radio, TMC. It's so many things in one.
Yeah, it's like maybe you could be. It's like kind of like the Miami World Star,
Miami Barstool,
mixed with Barstool, mixed with like radio, mixed with like it's like.
It's wild, bro.
They really.
People still ask me what it is. I still really don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah. I've never seen. It's like phenomenal. People. It's like people when fights would break out, they'd be like World Star.
Yeah.
It's like only a date.
Straight up, dude.
Bro,
and we can't even repost the fights because then we'll get fired.
It's something I think that's unique to Miami, like an IG page like that. Because I try to explain that to like my New York friends, like, yo, what's Only in them? Like, bro, it's an IG page that runs Miami. I don't know how
it's wild the amount of power like that page has, but it's great, dude. Like I was able to. So he hits me up and he's like, yo, let's do something together. Like, what could we do? Because it was only like Marcelo at the time doing that content. And I was like, I don't know, like let's think about it. And he hits me up, tells me all that, and all I could think of was like that would work for the page. I told him like, oh, maybe we can do something where I do like different reviews for restaurants, and I do it in that restaurant's accent. And we did that, and it was cool. And it's not that it was corny, but it felt a little bit like, how long can this last if we do that?
Basically,
Yeah. So then I was like, well, people are doing like these like on the street interviews. Like Side Talk wasn't around yet, but there was stuff that was going around that was like that, and it was a pandemic, so no one was really doing interviews on the street at that time as much, just because of that reason. In fact, I don't think like Side Talk was around, but it was not as blown up as it is to the day, obviously. Shout out to those guys. Those guys are great. And I was like, why don't we do like just on the street interviews in Miami? Like I'll go and basically do crowd work with people. And like interview them about like whatever, like not necessarily any specific questions, but feel the vibe of the people in Miami and see where it goes, because people get crazy, and like I'll match anyone's energy and I'll try to like make conversation with literally anyone. That's something I like try to pride myself on. So I was like, I think we can make something work here. And I did, and it was December 17th. And we're in Wynwood, and he's like, all right, go meet up with this camera guy. You guys shoot some interviews, see what happens. We'll see. I shoot interviews, and I'm shooting all the way from like 9 p.m. to like 1 in the morning. My birthday was December 18th. I literally turned 25 while I was like doing Only a Date interviews in Wynwood. Wow. It was crazy. And I was like, this is dope. And I enjoyed it, and I loved it. I was like, this is fun. Like I could see this being like a thing. Like it was like dope. We posted it, like some of them did well, and ever since like we're like I've been working with them and doing
together, like
dude. And then I also went that much crazier on the stand-up, because we had a show that same month, like towards the end of the month, where it was like, like I think it was like
I DJ'd it. It was a comedy show. They did a couple of them, bro. They did the drive-in comedy during the pandemic. That was nuts. And then
Steve Trevino did that, and he's crushing it right now.
Then they started doing the improv. I was DJing. It was like you, Caballo, Mario, Marcelo. It was like the local guys, like getting their shit off, and you guys packed it, sold out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
dude. And that was the first. Well, you did it the weekend of 2021. I think it was in 2021.
I did the drive. I think I did the drive-through, and then I did 2 in the improv.
You did 2 in the improv, but the 2 in the improv I think you did it was in 2021. It must have been. Was it like back to back, like days, or it was like 1 year and another year?
it was two separate events. It wasn't the same weekend.
It wasn't the same weekend.
It was like three. It was I feel like it was the drive-in. Then a couple months passed. Then I did one at the Improv.
That's what it was.
Then
You're right.
A couple months passed. I did another one at the Improv.
That's what it was. So 2020, that one that we did, it was like, I think Andy Pita was in it too, Caballo, like you said, Cisco, Marcelo, and then I was like a guest. He only gave me he's like, do 5 to 10 minutes to 7 minutes. And I was like, all right, great. And this was my first time. Well, it was the second time performing at the Improv. I had done Luis Diaz's show, hilarious comedian as well, who had a show there called The Frat House, and I did that, and it was like my first time doing that. And I had done the open mic at the Improv before the pandemic, and then this was my first show at the Improv after the pandemic. Everybody was crazy. Then only in day crowd that was like, rah, rah. Like some of them were definitely like dealing, illegal drugs. There was like a wild crowd where there was some of them that were like realtors and like probably buying those drugs.
Like narcos and realtors. Like,
correct. And the ones that
those are like the two highest professions in Miami.
Truly,
like
they are. And they were all there. So
if you're a bottle girl or you work in the nightlife and you start to get a little too old, and the new 21-year-olds take your job, you go to real estate.
That's it.
That's like the Miami path of like bottle girls,
basically,
and bartenders in Miami.
It's how it goes. Yeah, and then eventually, if that doesn't work, then you start
to OnlyFans.
Back to OnlyFans, or just selling drugs in general on OnlyFans. That's the new wave.
That's lit.
Then I'm like, that's it. Yeah.
How do you feel about Miami women, bro? It's a love-hate relationship.
Oh man, bro, dude.
Give me like the pros and cons of Miami women to you.
I think a Miami woman. What I love about Miami women is that they're like very, they're open-minded. They speak their mind. They'll tell you if you fucked up. They'll be like out here. But
like, bro, you fucked up, bro. Like,
like that confidence they got, it's like, like that from that like Latino fire, whether they are or not, like it just fuels them and it's like contagious, which I like. It's good. Like you go to Minnesota, like a girl will be mad at you for a year and she won't tell you. You know what I mean? And then it's like, what the fuck happened? But here she'll fucking tell you, like you'll know. And even if it's like as petty as like unfollowing you on Instagram, it's like, oh fuck, she unfollowed me again.
Or like the girl's picture, like, oh my god, like what are you doing?
Like that, bro. Like and it's like I don't. That part is like, it's fun. It's like a good game. It's enjoyable. It keeps it interesting. But I do think Miami women and just Miami guys in general, like it's very easy to kind of be like, everybody's like, oh, we're all like single here. Like everybody's always like, when you go somewhere, you feel that energy of like, we're all trying to fuck somebody here, right? Yeah. So like finding love is like very difficult.
It's very hard, bro.
It's very tough.
Why is it like that?
Because,
you think it's unique to our city, or is it like everyone's
so.
dealing with this on social media now?
The social media stuff, everybody's dealing with it, of course. But the way that Miami, I've lived in Chicago for like a few months. I've lived in New York for a few months as well. I've been to different places. It's just the energy you go when you're going to a club specifically in Miami. It's like vultures. Everybody's like a vulture, and they're all trying to fuck each other, and you never know who's gonna get it. And as someone that's trying to like I'm 28, like I'm like trying to like eventually, not necessarily. I'm a comedian. I know I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna do all this. I want to be able to like have my freedom, but also have a family. This is different with those values.
Damn, is that an oxymoron?
Yeah, bro.
Having freedom and a family.
I mean, it's
hard to have both, bro. Because
I
think about that all the time. I'm at that age too, where it's like, as soon as you commit to one girl, and I feel like you lose that freedom of, because part of being successful in Miami is being out.
Right.
It's hard to be successful in Miami if you're not out, bro. If you want to, like live the family life. You got to meet people,
you got to network and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
It's not easy,
like,
dude.
Oh, the women are beautiful. You know what I mean?
No, I'm just looking.
Yeah, I just want to make the go off. The women are beautiful, the men got money and the men look good, so it's like everyone's at the top of like the ladder of like value, you know what I mean? Like
OnlyFans are drug dealers, that's it.
Yeah. Like,
and realtors. That's what we're gonna call. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, dude, I'm like recently, like I recently got into a relationship with a girl that I'm like, okay, I'm confident that like this could last because of the fact that she lets me do my shit. She supports what I do. She's into what I do. She helps me with what I do, and she's still doing her own shit. Like she still does her thing. Like she has her own podcast. She has her own thing going. Gotcha. She has her own goals. She has her own thing, and she respects what I do. And we both are like very, like we're on the same wave of like we both want to grow. We both want to make as much money as we can, and we both want to be creative while doing that and do what we love and then support each other as much as we can. So we're able to like go out like to clubs together if we go out. We're able to do this together. We're able to do like it's like. It's something that it's the healthiest relationship I've been in Miami since I became single, like post pandemic, and I had like a very stable relationship where all I would do was like watch movies on Netflix and not really go out. Like
right.
Because honestly, before the pandemic and while I was doing that improv thing, I didn't really go out to like clubs and shit. Like I only really started becoming, like I became single again. Like I dated this girl for like 4 years, like from like 2016 to 2020. And it was great, lovely relationship, amazing. All love to her. She's a realtor now, ironically. But but after that, I was like, I haven't really been single. Like I'm 25 years old. I haven't really like experienced being single in this city, because before that I also had a three-year relationship with a girl that like we got together right after high school, and like it was during the time that I was losing weight.
Lost your mind, bro, and like turned into a fucking cokehead.
But I was like, easily, bro. Yeah, as easy as it gets. But yeah, dude, and I lived that whole from basically December 2020 to like the November 2021 to 2022. I was like full on savage mode, for 2 years. Like I was like, going out, and after shows you go to drink, and they invite you to this, and you go to that,
and then your cloud on Only in Day,
and then Only in Day hookup, and then you're like, you're not really paying for much, so you're like, why not? And I like literally, I felt like it was great. Like 2021, I remember being like, oh, this is dope. This is sick. Like, yeah, this going out shit. This is different. Like it was the first year of me doing that. Gramercy every Wednesday. We're going to Copper Blues after shows. We're going to live. We're going there. And I loved it. And I love that life. And everybody that lives that life that, I also still do once in a while. It's, I love it. It's fun. And then you're able to network and have a good time with people at the same time. But it's also like that dichotomy of like, if you do it too much, it's gonna get you. It's gonna get you.
Too much of a good thing is no longer a good thing.
It's not, bro. So like, you're out.
The city's like a drug, basically. So you have to like consume it in moderation, because
that's what I've learned. That's what I learned, bro. And it's not. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Imagine me. I get paid for being part of that drug.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, technically, me too. I'm out here entertaining people, getting up on stage. These people are drinking.
We gotta really learn to like be in it, but not participate in it all the time. And like, bro, if I drink every time I DJ, I'm an alcoholic. You
insane.
Know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So, and I honestly started feeling like that for a little bit. Like, I was like, fuck, I'm drinking every night. I'm waking up feeling like shit. I barely want to do shit. Like, I'm out here like, yeah, all right, I'll do it. But like, I didn't feel like I was like disciplined or like even healthy. Right. Like I gained like 30 pounds in like that range of time.
That's part of the job in itself. That's like the side job that people don't understand. Like taking care of yourself.
It's so important.
And learning to deprive yourself from the liquor and the weed or whatever you
woman,
do.
Everything.
Whatever,
that lifestyle.
Like, you got to really learn to deal with that in moderation. And if you're not a person who's comfortable with yourself, or you're a little bit insecure, or you search for validation, you could easily like fall off the cliff.
It's easy, bro. And I literally made a decision. I was like, okay, no. Like last year, like towards like the end, like tail end of the year, I was like, nah, I can't be doing this whole like freaking like going out and all this bullshit like too much, because it is getting to me. And I was like realizing it. I was like, okay, I can't. It's to the point that I'm doing it, and it doesn't feel. I don't even want to do it. Like I'm just doing it out of like the norm. Like in my routine, it's part of. And I stopped, and I was like going out like maybe twice a week. Then like, I got into this relationship, and it was more and more and more and more like just time that was spent in a healthy way. And less time that it was spent like not sleeping or drinking or
consuming
all that.
and like
dog.
Like
and I've been like I haven't felt as healthy as I am these past like 3-4 months that I have in the past like 2-3 years. So it's like it's a realization.
Do you feel
that
like it's like
me,
DJing stand-up comedy on stage? Do you feel like drinking is like a performance enhancer?
I don't drink before shows.
Oh, really?
No, I don't really drink before shows. If I drink before a show, I'll do a shot. Like if I'm like doing, like I'm working with like a headliner or like somebody that likes to drink, like just to like appease and go for it. But I don't really enjoy like drinking or being high before shows. I've done it before, but I never enjoy the moment of, because you feel like there was a show that I specifically remember. It was that Only in Day weekend that you DJ'd one of the shows. Because we had like 6 shows. It was like a packed out. It was like, Thursday, Friday, 2 shows, Saturday, 2 shows, Sunday. And the Saturday night, like second show, I remember being like wasted on stage. Like I was fully drunk. And I was having fun, but I was like, I have no control of what's happening right now. Like I could say some shit that could cancel me immediately. Like I really was like, and it was, and I hated that feeling, dude. And I had done it once, like while I was doing improv. Like I think I had an edible or something when I was like younger, and I did those improv shows. Bro, I remember like being like in my head so much. And the number one thing about like doing improv or even stand up is to get out of your own head.
Yeah,
get out
it's
of
like
your own
DJing
way.
too.
Yeah, that too,
like
because you
DJing
start
too.
thinking so much, and I was like, nah, I hate it.
Because it happens like the same with DJing and stand-up comedy. That, like
Yeah.
you said, when you hit that roadblock and it's time to turn left and
turn.
go another bag,
Yeah.
you start to get in your head like, oh shit, why did I hit that roadblock?
Yep.
And you're like not focused on the new path. You're focused on the path that
you
didn't
already
work.
had said. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and like, oh shit, am I bombing right now? And then you get in your own, like,
Bro, straight up. And then you're going to fuck up your
you're
set.
going down a downward spiral and you lose. If you can't, it's like throwing an interception. You got to get over that shit quick and go to the next
Quick,
play.
bro.
You know, like what as far as the sensitivity and people being soft now, and you said getting canceled.
Yeah.
Do you approach, like, how is your feeling toward that? Like,
I think everybody's like kind of calming down a little bit with that, in my
I
opinion.
think Miami is a little less like. Do I use
Yeah,
the word
no.
like liberal, weirder like that? Like I think we're
think
we're
so.
not. Yeah, we're less. I've heard Marlon Wayans. He just did an interview with Laz, and he said the reason why he loves Miami is because people aren't that sensitive. They aren't on that weirdo
not.
shit. Because people
In fact,
from
they
Cuba,
want-
people
they don't-
from like other places, like they're not.
They don't.
taking
They're
life
like, we
that
dealt
serious.
with communism. It's okay if
Yeah,
you're saying
yeah.
it's okay, bro. Say it.
Yeah, we're
like
not-
they
we're
wanted
not
to say that.
affected. Like, yo,
yeah,
like, we have food. Like we're good. Like,
yeah. We were offended when if we weren't offended when Castro was talking, we're not gonna be offended when you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's that. But I don't think it's as bad as it was, because I did feel like I was like walking on eggshells at one point. And doing improv, that art form is very, very PC. So like if you do something wrong, if you like and touch somebody the wrong way, like if like not like that, but like for example, like improv gets crazy. Like it's like you're in an improv show, you might have to carry somebody because now that person is a tree, or like dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
Which I love doing that dumb shit. But it gets a little like there's just a lot of different things that could go wrong if you do that, and if you're like you're so focused on like what is wrong that as opposed to that what is working or what is funny and why we're laughing about that. You know what I mean? Like there's jokes that I say right now in my act, like when I'm on March 15th at the Miami Improv, that I might say that I wouldn't have let myself say like early on in 2021, because I would have been like, maybe this is a little bit like
the
pushing
climate
the
was
envelope a little too much. Not that I'm doing anything that's offensive, honestly. Like I try to keep my stuff pretty clean when it comes to that aspect of things, but just the idea of like, is that a little wrong?
I think that's part of comedy, though, is like to shock people.
Gotta
you know
have
what I'm
a
saying?
little
So
bit.
if you can't say something that's shocking, that makes your job way harder.
Dog,
you know what I'm
straight
saying? Like,
up.
because now you got to just be like funny in a blander way. Like, you know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
and
Like,
some people get away with it. Don't get me wrong. There's people, there's friends that I work with that only do like Marcelo, for example. He does very clean comedy. Like it's like, well, to the level that it got him to SNL.
Right.
So like he does something like it's very like. You won't really hear him talk about sex. You won't really hear him talk about. He won't really
Cultural
curse.
issues. He's very,
He
like,
won't really cultural. Exactly,
he's
cultural.
very
issues.
like personal stories.
It's
and
all
shit.
personal
Yeah.
stories, and it's based on his real and my stuff too. Like my comedy is really based on observations about my own life and things around me, and it's truly based on me as opposed to being like, Republicans shit. Like it's I don't go into any of that shit.
As you're living life, you on the notepad a lot, writing ideas down when you sing.
Bro, I'm always on that. Like right here, this is like all this shit that I write, and then I'll just put it like in bullet points, and I have one like per year and per month, like 2022 material, 2021 material, and I have like X's for what works and what doesn't. I'm very like.
Are you
weird
for
with
the
that
show
shit.
March 15th at the Improv? Are you debuting like any? How much do you change your material? How much do you rock with the same stuff? And you're like, okay, this is played out now. Let me switch it up.
Good question. Yeah. So I'm doing an hour. So I'm doing like an hour that I've like tried to put together based on like some material that I've done in the past, but a lot of the material that I found myself doing in the past felt very like localized, or that it was very like just focused on the fact that I'm Latino, or just focused on this. This is like a piece of work that I'm putting out that it's kind of coming from like an experience of like where I am in life right now, like being like 28 years old
So
in
a lot
Miami.
of this is new material that you're gonna.
A lot of this is new material.
So it's kind of like you're special.
In a way, yeah, because I'm doing stuff that I did before, but I'm putting it in different orders, and there's things that are setting that up differently, and it has a nice little pace and callbacks to it.
Do you do the whole? You do the whole like practice to make sure it takes up an hour time? Like
So I've been doing like little. I'm not posting about them like the one when I'm doing other, because I want to make sure that everybody comes to the 15th. But yeah, like I've done like I did like an hour in Fort Lauderdale the other day. I try to do time. I hosted in Dania this Sunday. I'm gonna probably see if I can do a spot after this, like at this place called Dom's in Brickell. So I try to go out as much as I can because you got to test out your material and see what works and doesn't. But I have all the jokes I'm going to say. Now it's just a matter of organizing it in the best way that like makes the most.
Do you remember it
kind
all?
of like DJing, like putting a song here.
A set together. Do you remember it all, or can you kind of like put a notepad off to the side, or like a note and kind of like go by bulletins, or is it?
I like to do it to the point that I remember what I'm doing up there. A lot of people bring a notepad, or they bring like a little notes. Like I've seen like headliners bring a little paper and they'll like put it on the floor before I go on. Like if they're hosting. I don't really like doing that. Like I enjoy the feeling of like, going out there.
Naturally freestyle, like getting it out. Okay.
And I like doing crowd work in between. I like going out and like talking to the audience as I'm like setting up a joke and going this way and going that way with it. Mm-hmm. So I like to let myself be free with that. But at this time I'm trying to like have at least some sort of a structure to what the jokes and where I'm doing the jokes, and let the crowd work and the freestyle and all that stuff come in between without it being too like serious or focused on it.
Do you get nervous at all?
No, it's been a minute since I got nervous for a show.
Because I think once you try all your shit out with the small venues, you know what I'm saying, and then just the more you go on stage in front of people, straight up. It's weird because I'm a DJ, right? So I've been on stages where 5,000 people are looking at you. I've been in arenas. I've been all right, and it's like the thing is with me is that I talk on the mic, but I could put the music and fall back.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think
I ain't got no music,
like,
bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can't like rely on the music if you fuck up or you know what I'm saying. Because I think about that all the time. Like I want to go to an open mic and try it out and just kind of like see if I could do it.
Yeah, man, do it.
Like I don't have the music to throw in case like
no.
I can't run. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like,
They'll take the mic away from you, but that's it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
but it's different that way, and it's like
you're gonna get. But I think everyone's gonna get. It's like DJing. It's like any performing. When you first start, you're gonna like get. You're gonna bomb. Like that's inevitable.
You have to. You gotta be able to. Like I bumped a shit ton of times when I was like starting up. Like it's inevitable, and you should. You want to bomb. Like I want to go. Like I know that if I do new material and some of it bombs, like okay, that's good. At least I know why it didn't work, and I gotta go back to the drawing pad and see what will make it better or something. Like what did I say that didn't make sense for this setup that I thought this punchline would be good for? You know what I mean? So
do you ever film like those tests so you could watch your shit back?
Oh yeah, I try to film. Well, the past like month, I've been filming all my sets just to see like which specific ones are working that I'm trying. Yeah, dude.
You just go set up a camera on a tripod?
Yeah.
Just kind of like...
Yeah. And my girl has like I'm sorry, like she has a camera like that. So like she's been helping me out and like comes into whatever show that is, that I'm gonna do more than 10 minutes in, and like I record it, have it set up properly, and I've been doing that. I'm posting out a bunch. I did a set at Dania that I did like a lot of crowd work, because a lot of what stuff on the internet, like right now on TikTok and Instagram, it's crowd work that you put up, because you're not giving away your material. So when people come see you, they can still see the material.
I would imagine there's a difference like between Broward and Dade. I always say that.
Oh my God!
Like it's like a new county line road is like a new country. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's like you're performing in a new state almost. Yeah. Well, a new country even.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I would imagine like your material.
It's a little different. Like I won't be able to like, but like I said, I want to record this next, like what I'm doing on the 15th, to the point that anybody could watch it in like Minnesota, New York, Chicago, wherever, and I can still like, they will still be able to understand and relate, as opposed to just like laughing about the Metro Rail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and in Dania, that teaches you to do that when you do these shows in Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Dania, Tampa, Orlando, like anything in Florida that's not Miami, it helps you to become a better comedian.
It's probably easy to like work in the Miami circuit to get really like wrapped up in like doing the Latino, Cuban, Miami shit. And because you got to realize like that's not the rest of the country.
No,
like, that shit will not resonate anywhere else. You kind of got to like have some Americanized content. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where you could test that out in Broward. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it works. Like and that's, I want to do that. Like I want the stuff I'm doing to not feel like just this part of like just only in Dade would understand it. You know what I mean? So that everywhere else is also like, damn, okay, cool. Like I want to be able to tour. Like I'm planning. I'm going to LA like at the end of the month. I'm gonna do a bunch of shows over there. Like yeah, man. Like I've been at this for like, counting improv, I've done comedy for like 6-7 years almost, and stand up for like 3 or 4. So I want to be able to keep on, growing the machine and not just letting it stay here.
Are you any plans for the YouTube? Because I know a lot of comics are doing things like releasing on YouTube now. And
so as far as like the special itself, I'm not sure where that, like what I'm recording, I'm not sure where it will end up. Who knows? But yeah, I'm, at least as far as YouTube goes, I also have a podcast that I'm starting called Carlos Live, and I'm like putting that out there. I've recorded a few episodes, but I'm going to try to keep on being more and more active and consistent with it. As you know, like that's what works with podcasting.
Yeah.
And that, podcasting alone, like you talking into a mic by yourself, which is kind of like what the podcast is. And when I have guests, it helps you. Like, honestly, for my comedy, like I'm able to like, I'll say something like, oh yeah, that's funny.
Oh yeah.
Cause you're just like spitting out there, like freestyling, doing improv by yourself on sometimes, or like in a conversation, you're like, oh,
it's
yeah,
like
that's
therapy
funny.
To me, bro.
Straight up,
like
bro.
Like just being able to just get your shit out,
and it's cheaper than therapy.
Yeah,
and sometimes you get paid even.
100%, bro.
So it's dope, bro, for sure.
I mean, and how do you feel about Miami strip clubs, bro? Because I just got invited the other day. It's like to a meeting. Like I have a very serious meeting happening.
Oh, fun!
And it's like Tootsie's for like lunch.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, bro, Miami got to be the only city where you can have a serious meeting about business.
Yeah, let's have steak. Where are we going? Like, Tootsie's. Yeah,
like ass in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's hilarious. Like you'll literally be like having a discussion. Well, how much money are we making? And some like a girl's ass is just out here telling.
And the food is like gourmet. I'm eating lobster.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just ass.
The ass is gourmet and the food is gourmet. That's really it.
It's crazy.
I think look, strip clubs. The one I frequent the most that some people don't even call a strip club is 11, honestly. And it's because I don't feel like so bad that I'm at a strip club. I'm like,
it's not fully. It's a strip club, but it's just like it's not like Candy at the main stage. It's like naked Cuban girls.
Yeah, they'll like just put them there, and it's like, well, I mean, they're here. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so it's
just walking around like, hey, nice to meet you. You're naked, but it's not like an organized strip.
It's fun. I like being at a strip club, not knowing who's the stripper, and then not knowing who's about to like take my money. Like I want it to be done in that way. Like if I want you to be like have a conversation with me. I'm not even sure if this is working or if this is a business transaction.
Yeah,
and then maybe be like, we'll go to the room, and I'll be like, now I have a decision to make. Am I in love with this girl, or am I just like, am I falling for this trap that she did great at? Like she's a good actress even.
Yeah,
she's falling for it. So I like that about 11, but man, dude, like I've been to like BTs on the river and all this stuff. Like that shit gets crazy. Like it's insane the amount of just the goods that are there.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh shit, and like you walk into.
Club guy. I'll go if I have a girl with me that I'm messing with. I'll take her there and kind of focus on letting her have a good time. You want to buy a lap dance? Pick who's your type of girl in here. Like, so I'm kind of just paying for her. You know what I'm saying?
But I think it's I don't know. I don't think I've ever been to a strip club like a Miami strip club. Like you outside of the city. Like I remember being in
Orlando and other places. They have pasties on their nipples. You can't touch
Canada.
them.
I went to Canada. I went to a strip club in Canada, bro. That was, I don't even know. I felt like I was just, I don't know. I felt like I was like at fucking like Hooters. Like it was very like no one was really doing much. It was like they were almost like apologizing for being naked. They're like, it was very like, sorry, like I'm sorry, like is this too much? Like it was just they were very nice. They're like they're not really looking. They're not trying too hard to get at you. They're like,
it's better over here because the women come from third world countries, so they're
so they're like, we gotta get this going.
They're used to the machismo, how men act. Like let's just get to the money. Like let's get
exactly.
It's not,
and they need it. Yeah, a girl can leave Cuba and look how these girls look and become a millionaire in a matter of a year.
Cuba and work at BT's on the river in 2 weeks.
Oh, easily, bro.
And become a millionaire.
Become at BT's and 11 sometimes even. I don't know what the exclusivity contract is for that.
Does that happen on strip clubs?
I don't even know. I feel like I might have seen a girl at BT's and I might have seen a girl at 11, but I don't know whether she's frequenting one or the other and then she's working the other one. But yeah, 11's fire though. Like you go to 11 a lot?
Yeah. I'm a fan of 11.
It's fire, dude. I remember one time I was at 11. Well, shout out to them, bro, because they really do like treat us right, and they're dope as hell there. And we honestly, the first few times going to 11, I didn't realize it was a strip club. Legitimately, like I would go to Gold Rush. Like the first time I ever went to a strip club was Gold Rush, or no, actually it was King of Diamonds. It was like the Tuesday nights, like when you were like you could go before you were 21. Oh shit! And the one time we went on a Thursday instead of Tuesday, and they did let us in. And then like 2 weeks after that, they stopped at like younger than 21s can get in. So then I went to my first strip club with like my ex and a bunch of her girlfriends went out in 2020, and I was like, this is like wild, like this is crazy. Like, and I was like silly with it. And then I went to 11, like, man, I think 2021 must have been like when I first went. And I was like, whoa, this is wild, dope ass club. And then like, all right, interesting, there's some stuff happening. And then like the second or third time was like when I realized what was going on, and it was like, oh shit, this is a strip club. We're just pretending it's not. Like, but it's you appreciate the efforts of it, making it feel like it's not, and it's like you're at a club, but there's also.
You think like stand-up comedy and strip clubs could work together?
There's definitely been that's been a thing before. Like there's definitely stand-up shows in strip clubs. Like in Broward, that's a thing. There's a show. I've never done it.
Did a comedy night. I wonder how that would go off.
I don't know, bro. Because the thing is, like, why would you pay attention to like a chubby dude on stage talking about his penis when this lady, like, when her pussy's in your face? Like, it's not.
Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't, like, what you're trying to do at a comedy show, if you're going there with a girl or you're single and you're trying to find a girl, is to get to the pussy, which is already in your face.
That's why it's so easy to DJ strip clubs, because like people are not there for you.
They're not there for the strippers. They're not like, yo, I love this song.
Yeah, you can play fucking Mexican fucking music.
Yeah, rancheras.
If the bitch's pussy pop into the fucking mariachi.
Is that a thing you deal with? Like if you go to a regular club, like someone will be like, yo, Bad Bunny. But at the strip clubs, would they do that in a strip club? Like they'll still tell you? Nah.
Maybe, yeah, they will.
Yeah?
I don't really DJ strip clubs.
Okay, but whenever you have.
Yeah, I'm sure they have. But bro, I see Bad Bunny phones in my sleep, bro.
Bro, that's a nightmare.
It's bad. I've never seen anybody like
get requested as much.
Yeah. Tell me where they could find you at, bro.
You can find me on Instagram at CAHRLOS, Carlos with an H in the middle. That's just how I spelled it. It is what it is. It's my initials, Carlos Alberto Hernandez Rodriguez, and then Los, CAHRLOS. You can find me on Twitter at CAHRLOL, on TikTok at the same thing, CAHRLOL, and on YouTube at Carlos Hernandez Live. And talking about being live, come to my show at the Miami Improv on Wednesday, March 15th. We're out there. My hour's called Best Thing That Ever Happened to You. It might be the best thing that ever happened to you that week. Come through. It'll be a hell of a good time. And thank you, brother. Appreciate you for having me at Miami on the Rocks.
There it is. Carlos, thank you for coming through, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, dude.
March 15th, Improv Miami.
Boom.